Some of these parts aren't working enough. Some of the car parts that we did put on there were just restricting us. Got some goodies in a box over here, got some goodies in a box over there. We're gonna talk about here in the channel. Today we're going to try to rectify that by installing a set of 1 3/4 full-length long tube headers. And we're going to show you on a dyno how much power the difference was between the two. But first things first, we got to get the car up. We got to get the little bit of exhaust that we had set up. We got to get the headers off. And then you're going to get a chance to see how good they fit as well. And we did as much cost effective as we could. We're going to get this stuff installed and you're going to see the outcome. Part number 15690, 1 3/4 full-length header kit. This is for a 351 Windsor swap with a manual transmission, which is what we got going on here. Since I purchased these short tube headers from BBK, the 1 5/8, I didn't realize that there would be that much restriction, but we're talking about a 387 stroker that's got 12-to-1 compression, and the heads do flow pretty well for being a smaller head. These 351 headers were definitely like an entry-level 351 Windsor swap, something that definitely has like GT40 heads and or a stock head. We're gonna get these long tubes on and we're gonna see where our restriction truly is at. Okay, so these are the ceramic coated BBK. These are a 351 Windsor specific swap in a Fox body. Real nice piece of work here. Nice setup, good welds. If you remember from the other header video, looks like these welds could be cleaned up a little bit, but I don't want to mess with the integrity of the tube. These are pretty much significantly bigger than the other ones were. I think these will be plenty for what we're going to do naturally aspirated. Yep, pretty nice pieces. These things retail for about 800 bucks for a set. I had to know, what our restriction was on the dyno, and I think we're gonna find out. Got some good header gaskets with it. And just like with the shorty headers, all the hardware, we even got an extra set of header bolts. So the format of the video is pretty simple. Let's go get the car up in the air. We're gonna start with the passenger side, move the intake tube, which shouldn't take very much effort, and we're gonna start getting this thing wrapped up real quick. Okay, looks like we still got a oil leak on our oil pan. That's unfortunate. It's okay. It might be a weld though. 2.5-inch pipes, probably not the best idea. Let's go ahead and get this exhaust stuff off. Hopefully getting this passenger header in here. Definitely having a lift is going to be to my advantage because if I remember correctly, some long tube headers are best installed from the bottom up underneath. So we're about to find out, right? Well, you can definitely see the difference in the ports. You can see what it was doing right here. Pretty choked up. We'll actually take a measurement of that here in a second. In a side-by-side comparison of the port size, you can see why I've had considerable differences here. Just seeing by the carbon marks. Definitely got some pretty good ports here on the cylinder heads. These are trick flow 170s, but they've been ported out just a tad and definitely restrictive. I'll be curious to see how much power this increases. So let me go ahead and get this passenger side header slipped in here, see if it fits pretty good. So it looks like we're going to have to bring the car back up. I'm going to go ahead and measure some of these ports. 1.21, 1.22, 98.7. That's how much of a difference. 1.75. 1.42, so definitely 25% or more. They flow a lot better than shorties did. Plus shorties were, well, they're shorty headers and they're restricted. So we ended up taking some time on a late night and decided to clean out some of these ports that had all this weld sticking outside. So I ended up cleaning out the sides and just trimming the tops a little bit. gasket bits nights. Hopefully it works out for us where we can get some decent airflow on the exhaust. So we're gonna find out how well these BBK headers actually fit. But I have a QuickTime bell housing, so wow, look at the fit on that, dude. That is absolutely nuts. Look at that. I cannot believe how well those things fit on this passenger side. I know the driver's side is going to be the tricky one, but we're going to worry about the passenger side right now. So we got the headers all nice in place. Didn't have much of a problem getting my wrench onto most of them. I think it fits pretty good. We're gonna head over to the driver's side, get the driver's side header off. There's quite a bit of restriction. Look at the step on, this is the old gasket that came off, which did very well, but look at the difference in the ports. See how small the ports were. Gonna rectify that now, huh? It looks pretty good right here on the passenger header. Almost aims right into my old turbo Y-pipe, which we'll end up dealing with another day, but it's definitely not gonna be easy. Hopefully this clutch cable isn't close, and haven't even test fit it yet. As you see it, I see it. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Might have to actually take the knuckle off to get this thing to fit. Okay, so we ended up unbolting the rag joint. I remember replacing that a while ago, but it gives us a chance to clean it and check it, check the torque on the threads. But it's gonna be super close. It's not a bad fitament though. Minus that knuckle, I think it's just enough to get that knuckle by too. We'll see. So I decided to go ahead and switch over to the actual BBK header bolts that they actually sent me. They have a 3/8 hex head instead of a 7/16 one that I was trying to use. Plus they're just a tad bit shorter. Just like kind of like a GT40P problem. Like this header bolt, number 6 and number 8, had a real pretty good radius to it. So, okay, that fit a lot better than I thought it was going to be honest with you. Not bad. Not bad at all. Using the BBK actual header bolts that they provided actually helped out quite a bit. Nonetheless, BBK headers, long tube headers, there you have it. I'm gonna bring the car up next and I'm gonna show you underneath, take some pictures of it. I think they fit really well. It's gonna definitely increase the flow of my exhaust on the 387. Maybe help us out with a little bit of horsepower considering we were pretty choked up. A couple more things we gotta do. Spark plug wires, hook up the O2s and hook our steering shaft back up. It's about the last things we got to do. Only take about 10 or 15 minutes. These 351 headers worked out really well for what we were doing, but these are definitely like an entry-level 351 Windsor swap. Something that definitely has like GT40 heads and or a stock head. You can see it's pinched. They're not equal length like the long tubes were. This is definitely the step up when you start getting into like a 357 build with a bigger head. 387, 393, which is basically 387 is a stock bore, 393, 408, 427. You start getting into the bigger horsepower, bigger cubes, stroked out 351 Windsors. Definitely want to and then fork up the extra money for the 1 3/4 inch. Probably something we should have done to begin with, along with putting a larger intake tube in for the CFM for the naturally aspirated build. Kind of funny how we've been boosted for so many years. You just kind of forget how naturally aspirated kind of functions a little bit different. But we're not gonna get into that. Let me go ahead and get this stuff tidied up real quick. We'll give it a fire up and see how much of a difference it sounds. We're not gonna be putting the intake tube in today. We're actually waiting on a different throttle body and we'll go ahead and mock that up at the dyno. Let's get these headers done. Pretty excited to hear what it sounds like. Stick around. First look at the installed long tube headers. This is 1 3/4 BBK long tube headers. You can see this is really nice fit. Have to move a couple things, but clutch cable's still accessible for the most part. Get my old dipstick back in. We're gonna go ahead and stick this thing back together here. Besides routing a few wiring harnesses, we're gonna go ahead and bring it down and see what it sounds like. Next modification we'll be making, 4-inch inlet tube. Let this thing eat. Shorty headers, long tube headers, both fitament videos. Guys, these things work really well for a stock bottom end 357, 351 build. But 1.75 inches is when you're looking at like a 387, 393, 408, even your 427-ish. You know, you get away with an 1.75 inches, got big ports on them. We cleaned them out like you see. There's definitely a sound difference in that. We're looking to gain some horsepower by gaining some flow with these long tube 1.75 inches. If you guys enjoy this sort of content, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider subscribing. But outside of that, just appreciate you watching. We'll see you soon at the dyno. We're gonna find out how much more power it is over the shorties.